Welcome to another edition of Box Seat. We're taking a look at the 1st of January for 2016. Of course, it does feature the Group 2 G1X.com.au Perth Cup and 8 other quality races as well, which I'm really looking forward to analysing with you in this program. Let's take a look at the conditions that we are going to be faced with. We're running on a good 3. The rail is out 7 metres, but we are expecting a hot day in Perth as well, so be interested to see if that plays a part in the racing. No doubt it will, especially over the 2,400 metres. Let's take a look at race number 1. And we do have some horses in some very good form. I speak of Vega Magic, also Scars Adjustic and Rees Rocket as well. They've been racing along very, very nicely. But the replay that we will start with is Vega Magic. Another impressive victory last start, winning by 3.5 lengths. Let's take a look at that run now.
Then Castle Queen in the straight, 300 to go. Vega Magic has skipped away and led by 2. Castle Queen's into the clear, giving chase. Production dropped off slightly, and then Lucky Legacy, the blue nipper coming through, one off the fence. Mystic Mater's trying to wind up, but Vega Magic is a bit of a star. He's raced away. Great battle for the Miners. Light up the sky on the outside.
Another very good victory there by Vega Magic. It's won its last 2 now by a combined margin of 8 lengths, so he's in some serious form. Carries the 55 kilos here, which it won with first up as well when it won by 4.5 lengths over Rocket Queen, which has since won. Now, this is certainly its biggest test because there is some quality in this field, but Vega Magic at the moment just seems all class. The Casey stable going along very nicely, and Jake Casey has been riding this horse perfectly, so I find it very hard to tip against Vega Magic. But the race is in 3 for mine, and one of the other horses that has a major chance is number 2, Scars of Justice. You go through the form lines. It won by 3 lengths at Northern back in July. Last start it won by a length, and it didn't do a lot right either, to be honest. And trainer Lindsay Smith mentioned that post race, and even the start before that was only beaten a long neck by Perfect Reflection and carried the 59 on that occasion. Will only carry the 57 here from barrier 3. Stepping up to the 1,200 metres is a huge positive. As Lindsay Smith said, the horse was just climbing on the leaders. Didn't really reach out in the stride properly. Paul Harvey had his hands full on that occasion. So they're hoping that the extra 100 metres here will make the difference, and we've seen that this horse has a lot of class as well. And the other galloper as well that certainly will have claims in this race is number 4, Rees Rocket. David Harrison flying at the moment. Barrier 4, Patrick Carberry in really good form as well. Carries just the 56 kilos. Of course, has come across from over East. Since then has had 2 races for 2 victories. One at Bunbury by a half length, and then one at Ascot by a length on a day that conditions just didn't really suit. So stepping back up to the 1,200 metres I see as a huge positive in this form. This horse is in some serious form as well, so it certainly does appear to be a race in 3. But as we take a look at the selections, I'll be tipping number 1 Vega Magic, from number 2 Scars of Justice, number 4 Rees Rocket, and number 6 the Blue Nipper. Race number 2 at Ascot, it is Perth. Race number 3 for our Singapore viewers. It's over the 1,500 metres, and we saw the replay of a very good horse in the first in Vega Magic, and we're going to be taking a look at the same colours now from the same stable. Again, Sean Casey, and he is number 1 at Stocks at the moment, which has won 5 of its last 6 starts. It has been very impressive. It's beaten Proper Antis, which will be running in the Perth Cup, and last start it beat Cosmic Storm by a length, and we saw what Cosmic Storm did at last start as well, and that'll be racing later on in the card as well. So let's take a look at that replay now. As I said, this horse is in very good form.
Coming out around the hills, 4 deep, followed by Hobart Jones and King of the Palace to the outside. I'm Feeling Lucky, Little Shadow getting runs over near the rail. Cerise and Stocks had breezed up to them, 200 left to go. It races to the lead. King of the Palace down the outside with Hobart Jones, Cosmic Storm, but Stocks races clear. It's Stocks drawing away from them in the final part. Goes on to beat Cosmic Storm. 3rd, give that to Cerise.
Another comfortable win there by Stocks, as I said, 5 from its last 6 now, but this is certainly going to be its biggest test. In the 72 plus so far, it's carried the 52, the 54, and now it steps up to 57 kilos with a claim to Jake Casey. So the biggest test, but very hard to tip against this horse. So what it's been doing, and against the quality of gallopers as well, I just find it very hard to go past Stocks. As I mentioned, 5 of its last 6, it has been racing in tremendous form. One horse that I think can maybe turn the tables on Stocks is number 3, Flying Raw. Now, the pulling bit goes on. It lost a length last start and was beaten 2 lengths by Flytego. Steps up to the 1,500 metres, which it hasn't raced at before. It's won over the 1,400 on 2 occasions, but the biggest thing is that this horse has beaten Stocks before, and this was before Stocks came right into its form, but it gets a 4.5 kilo swing for beating it by a length at Belmont. So that is something you certainly need to take note of. If Flying Raw can get into a nice position, as it should from barrier 1, I think it's one that can push stocks all the way to the line. Outside of those, Civil Rights is really nicely weighted here with the 52.5 kilos, but we know that he needs absolutely everything to go right. I think number 5, Cougar Knights, is the one that can certainly improve again as well. The first up run was disappointing, beaten 4.5 lengths by Lenience, but last start only beaten 2.5 lengths by Lunar Eclipse, which I think will be very hard to beat later on the day as well. Drawn nicely in barrier 2 with a 55.5 kilos and does have a very good track and distance record as well. And then some other gallopers in good form. Tutorbolt has been racing very well in its last 4 runs, hasn't finished any worse than 3rd. And Antique Dream is going for 4 in a row as well. Carries just the 55 kilos from barrier 6, has won over the 1,000, the 1,200 and the 1,400 metres this campaign, steps up to the 1,500. William Pike on board, a huge positive as well. So this is a very good race. There's a couple of chances in it, but I am going to be tipping number 1 Stocks on top from number 3 Flying Raw, number 5 Cougar Knights and number 7 Antique Dream. Race number 3 at Ascot, it is Perth. Race number 5 for our Singapore viewers. It's over the 1,200 metres in the G1X.com.au sprint, and some horses again in some very good form coming into this race. I speak of Vengabus, Lenience, Hobart Jones, Gigante you'd expect to improve as well. So looking forward to this race. The barriers that could play a major part. The replay that we're going to take a look at though is Vengabus. This horse just continues to go along his merry way. Now won $150,000 worth of prize money. Very good track and distance record as well. A brilliant ride by Peter Nucky last start, able to dictate terms, slow them up and then kick away at the top of the straight. And that's the replay that we're going to take a look at now.
Them around the corner from Surf Park, pushing out now into open space, Malibu Style, Distant Memory, Tiger Pete, Tudor Bolt further back starting their runs, but Vengabus with plenty to offer at the 150, the leader, Tudor Bolt flying on the outside with Malibu Style, Vengabus, Tudor Bolt flying on the outside, Vengabus on the rail, Vengabus, Tudor Bolt.
It's a really good performance there by Vengabus. As I said, Peter Nucky just controlled the terms, was able to get to the front, slow them right up, and then really take off at the top of the straight. And this horse has the class to be able to kick and hold off all of the challenges. I think this will be a nice little tune-up for the Mungarup Sprint at Mount Barker, which it finished 3rd in last year, carrying the 54 kilos. It's only beaten a length by Dawn Approach, so I'd expect them to race here and then go across to that and try win that race later on in the month as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Vengabus goes. But the barrier 9, it might have to do a little bit of work to cross. Some of the other major chances in the race, I think number 1 Carry the Nation is going to improve dramatically. It was a good run behind Fly Tego, beaten 2.3 lengths. Clint Johnson Porter with the ride, so just the 56 kilos, drawn nicely in barrier 6 as well. And you look at the second up record, 6 attempts for 3 victories and a second. So loves doing its best work second up. Hasn't won at the track and distance before. It's placed on 2 occasions from 6 attempts. But I think from barrier 2, Carry the Nation will certainly get a nice trip. Lenience, as I mentioned, has been in very good form. A winner 4 starts ago, beaten 2 lengths by Fly Tego 2 starts ago, and 2 lengths by Dutton last start as well. So you'd expect this horse to be running well. A bit of a concern from barrier 11. Will need some luck. Brad Parnham taking the ride there. The horse that I still think is the one to beat in the race, though, is number 5, Hobart Jones. Lucy Warwick takes the ride. She's ridden this galloper 2 of its past 3 runs, a victory and a 4th from those performances as well. It actually meets Vengabus 2 kilos better for that 1 length defeat. So with that weight swing, barrier 8, I expect this horse to be very hard to beat. And then you've got the Jim Taylor pair as well with That'll Do and Gigante. Jason Brown riding Gigante has placed second up before, also gets a 2 kilo swing on Vengabus. And That'll Do has a good first up record. It's never won, but has placed on 3 occasions from 4 attempts, and the recent trial was good as well, winning that by a half length over First Among Equals. So expecting a good performance by That'll Do as well. Let's take a look at the selections. I'm going to be tipping number 5 Hobart Jones, from number 1 Carry the Nation, number 8 Gigante, and number 4 Lenience. Race number 4 at Ascot, it is Perth. Race number 7 for our Singapore viewers. It's over the 2,200 metres and a really good race this one. Some horses in some serious form coming out of the ATA Stakes. We've got a couple of the emergencies from the Perth Cup that should be running in this race as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this. And then you've got outside of those 2 form lines of the Perth Cup lead-up races, you've got a horse like Entrechat, which has won last start very impressively by over 2 lengths. Form lines behind Savannah Roller as well, which will be racing in the Perth Cup. So this horse has certainly been going very well for Alana Williams, and that is the replay that we're going to take a look at now. Had to do the work early, was able to race on strongly to win by 2 lengths.
the bend, and Entrechet moved up strongly on the outside. Entrechet has raced up to just about put the nose in front. Lowland's Boy is trying to come back at it. Pollenizers joined in as well, and back behind them Silver Minx, and then came on the outside Black Vice, but Entrechet had burst clear. Entrechet got away from them. Silver Minx, Black Vice, it's Entrechet clear though, and Entrechet wins it well.
It's a really impressive performance there by Entrechet. As I said, had to do the work early. Pike didn't get his way and then led on the occasion, and all the other horses that were tracking up behind it looked as though may have been benefited and be able to get past Entrechet, but she just kicked at the top of straight, did it impressively to win by 2 lengths, carried the 57 kilos on that occasion, drops back to the 54.5. As I mentioned, at the start before that victory, was beaten by Savannah Roller when carrying the 54 kilos as well, and Savannah Roller's in the Perth Cup. So with the 54.5, this horse should be very hard to beat from barrier 4. Outside of that, there is some horses in some very good form as well. Cougar Express is an emergency for the Perth Cup, as I mentioned. Ram Jam would certainly need to improve on recent runs. Dark Alert, step up big time here to the 2200 metres. Has been racing over the 12, 14, 15 and 16. So stepping up dramatically. Clint Johnson Porter with the ride though, so just the 53 kilos. Should see Dark Alert run a bit of a race. The Ladies' Choice and Sacks on, Sacks off. Other emergencies there. Shintamani, of course, a winner 2 starts ago. Jumped as a $2.60 favourite last start and had no luck at all. Was in a dream spot early, but just couldn't get off the rail and ended up losing by 3 lengths to Savannah Roller. I wouldn't be ruling out Shintamani here at all, but the horse of mine that's the one to beat is number 5, Don't Get Caught. You take a look at the form lines. A winner at Northam 3 starts ago, was then beaten under a length by Savannah Roller and had no luck, was held up carrying the 58.5. Carried 55 last start in the ATA Stakes and only lost by 3 lengths to Badamajo, finishing 3rd and sneaking up on the rail. Now, does go up to the 56.5. It makes these gallopers a lot better in the weights for actually beating some of them as well in recent runs. So for mine, number 5, Don't Get Caught is the one to beat, and that is the way that I'll be tipping on top for mine. From number 9, Entrechet, number 12, Shintamani, and number 8, Sacks on, Sacks off.